Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. It's Leslie Banis with the Community Foundation. We appreciate you guys joining us on the webinar today for Getting Ready. Thank you to everyone who has already registered. We are up to a great start getting ready for the Amazing Give. This will be our 5th Giving Day here in our community coming up in April. So we're excited to have a lot of you come back and even have some new ones register for this year. We always get asked, why does the Community Foundation host this Giving Day? And so I always want to stress this, the importance of, this is not a fundraiser for the Community Foundation. The Community Foundation of North Central Florida hosts the Giving Day, and we've continued to do so because it really fits with our mission to promote philanthropy, and it really helps nonprofits really build sustainability, which is part of our mission. So we appreciate you guys helping us grow the Amazing Give, and we look forward to success this year. So we have the webinar today, and I'm sure all of you have visited the training page on theamazinggive.org. We have a few more trainings coming up in a few weeks. We'll have in-person trainings, so make sure you sign up for those on February 5th, and then on February 6th, we'll have one-on-one meetings about the Amazing Give, so your organization can sign up for a 30-minute session to come get some talk about strategy, how to create your page. So in going through today's webinar, keep that in mind that you can sign up for that one-on-one session. And of course, we hope you come on February 5th to the in-person trainings. We have it set up between advanced trainings and then intermediate trainings, and then the one-on-ones if you're new or you're new to your organization or your organization's new to the Giving Day. And then of course, we'll always, when those that come to the trainings, we'll be announcing the prizes. I know I've gotten a few questions about when we'll be announcing prizes and power hours. And of course, we'll be announcing those on February 5th. And then of course, that night on February 5th, we're having a nonprofit social. So you can see that, we get a time for everybody to get together and chat. So you'll get more information on that via your email. Also, don't forget to sign up, look for our Facebook page. This year we're doing, we have a private Facebook page for our nonprofit participants. So either you or your organization can come and join our page where we're have it to chat about what's going on with the Giving Day. So with all that said, we will now get started. So I'm going to pass it over to GiveGab. They're our partners that host our Giving Day. And so I'm going to pass it over to them. So Vanessa.
Thanks, Leslie. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today. My name is Vanessa Lloyd-Zammit, and I am the project manager. And I've been working with Leslie for the last 4 years of the 5 that they've had the Amazing Give. And I'm not biased at all. This is my favorite Giving Day to work with. So I'm really excited to be a part of it, and also to join the Community Foundation for the trainings on the 5th and the 6th. So I'm really excited to see all of your lovely faces for the 4th year in a row. Today I am joined by Isaiah.
Hello, everyone.
Isaiah is one of our customer success champions here at GiveGab. You probably have seen his handsome face in the little blue chat bubble. So he's the one that's been helping you guys out with any registration questions or profile questions. So great. Before we jump into the agenda, I do want to go over some housekeeping items. First, this webinar is being recorded. We will be posting it to the trainings page within 24 hours, probably a little bit quicker, but that's roughly when it can get uploaded and resolved. And everybody is also on mute. So if you do have a question, we certainly want to hear from you. If you look at your Zoom panel, there is a Q&A box. So we'll be monitoring that throughout the webinar, and then we'll have time at the end for questions for GiveGab or for Leslie. All right, well, let's jump into it. All right, so what are we going to talk about today? We're going to go over the basics for participating in the Amazing Give. We'll talk a little bit about the benefits of participating. So if this is your first year, this will be a great opportunity for you to learn a little bit more. We'll give you a high-level overview and introduction to GiveGab. GiveGab is the platform behind the Amazing Give. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with it, but if this is your first time or first time using it, we'll give you a high-level overview of that. We'll also talk about and walk through the registration process. It's super simple and easy, so we'll just kind of walk through those steps to make sure you're familiar with it. And then we'll talk about 2 different fundraising strategies that we have seen to be very impactful, and we'll talk about how you can leverage the functionality within GiveGab to leverage these 2 features. First is the peer-to-peer fundraising, and the second is matches and challenges. So Isaiah will be walking us through those particular pieces of functionality. And then we'll talk about next steps and wrap up and do our Q&A after that. All right, first, the basics. So our website for The Amazing Give is www.theamazinggive.org. You can see the great page, the landing page has the direct link to the registration page, and then within the menu, there's a bunch of different resources. There's a nonprofit toolkit and FAQs, along with some other resources for you to get started. And then the Amazing Give is April 22nd through the 23rd. And it runs from 6 p.m. to 6 p.m. This is a really great opportunity for your organization to have in some kind of kickoff party or some kind of event, having it start and end at 6 p.m. It's worked out great in the past, and we really love seeing Giving Days run during this particular time period. New this year, profiles will be reviewed and will need to be approved to participate. So we'll touch on this in a few minutes, what this means for this year. Every nonprofit will be conducting their own unique campaign for the day. So you'll register your organization and you'll have a profile page that's specific to your organization, and you'll customize that to your goals for that giving day. There's a ton of resources within the nonprofit toolkit that'll dive deeper into how you can leverage that profile to achieve your goals. Also, any 501c3 charitable organization headquartered or provides service in the North Central Florida area is eligible to participate in the Amazing Give. And you must be able to accept tax-deductible donations and be registered in the state of Florida to be able to fundraise on the platform. There, right within your profile, there is a handy section that makes it very clear where to fill out this information. This is really important in order for you to A, participate, because if you don't fill it out, you can't participate. B, and it's really to collect donations and provide the information so that we can vet you as a reputable nonprofit eligible to raise funds from our end in order to get you ready and prepared to accept donations ahead of the giving day. As I mentioned before, there's tons of training opportunities. There's tools, templates, and guides right within that nonprofit toolkit, so you want to check that out. And also, there's a awesome prize structure that will reward nonprofits for a variety of budget levels, creativity, and engagement criteria. The Community Foundation does a great job of having a wide array of prizes that organizations can go after regardless of your size or capacity. So as Leslie said, those will be revealed during the in-person training. So sign up for that to learn more. All right, so we'll talk a little bit more about who can participate. So organizations headquartered or provide services in the North Central area of Florida are eligible to participate in the Amazing Give. You also must be IRS recognized nonprofits eligible to receive tax-deductible gifts. Of course, we want to keep our giving day open to those who can accept those gifts and make it secure not only for those participating, but also for the donors that are giving during that period. You also must be registered to fundraise within the Florida Department of State, and you must be able to accept ACH direct deposit transfer with a valid checking account. Again, this is right within your profile. It's highlighted very clearly for you to fill out. If you have any questions about this process, we do encourage you to reach out to either our support team or Leslie sooner than later, so we can figure out how we can best get it resolved and get you connected and ready to accept donations. There is a $150 registration fee. So at the time of registration, you'll be prompted to pay this fee. And you'll also your profile will be subject to approval. So what does this mean? It means that the Community Foundation will be verifying that you have filled out the Memorandum of Understanding, which can be found within the Nonprofit Toolkit. So we print that off, sign it, and upload it during the registration process or after the registration process. And you must have a profile started on Philanthropy Hub. So that's going to be the new year-round giving site that we'll be talking more about during the February 5th training. So more to come on that, and join us to hear all about that.
All right, Vanessa, this is Leslie. I want to say a few things about this page about who can participate. For the $150 registration fee, I know we've had a few nonprofits reach out. If you, for some reason, don't have a credit card and you're not able to pay that registration fee online, you want to pay via a check, if you just reach out to me, or you can reach out to the chat bubble. They can give you my contact information if you don't have it, and we can make arrangements for you to pay that fee via a credit card, and then you can go ahead and create your page.
Great.
And we're very excited about the Philanthropy Hub. So I know there's not a lot of information right now, but we will definitely be sharing all that information at the training on February 5th.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Leslie. So I'm going to turn our attention to a quick guide to Give Gab. Again, this is the platform that is behind the Amazing Give. So our platform is safe, secure, and reliable for nonprofits and donors. Like I said, we do ensure that organizations are eligible to receive donations by doing different verification checks. So that's why that bank account part is so important. We use all of that information to do that verification. From a technical perspective, we are mobile responsive on every page. What this means is that your donors, as they go through the donation process, as they go through the website before and during the Amazing Give, every page is mobile responsive. It'll look great regardless of the device that they're using, whether it's an iPhone, an Android device, or a tablet or a desktop. It's all going to scale so they have the best user experience. We also have a seamless transactions and donation process. We do pride ourselves on having a high donation success rate, which means that we see very few donors actually abandon the donation during the process, because it is very simple and quick and easy. That process is very streamlined for your donors. We also have multi-give features, which it was new, I believe, last year, but your donors are able to give to multiple organizations during one checkout, just kind of like shopping around like you do it on Amazon. A donor can pick the nonprofits they want to support, enter the donation amounts, and keep going through their checkout process. So it makes multi-giving very, very easy. Once that donation is submitted, they get an immediate thank you message that is branded to your organization. That's part of the profile setup that you'll go through. But they'll get that tax-deductible receipt immediately after their gift, and that thank you message that you configure right from your dashboard. And of course, you have access to our support team. They are ready to assist you Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 Eastern Standard Time. And on your giving day, we'll be on for extended hours so we can help you and donors in case there's any questions. So definitely feel free to reach out to us for any and all questions, whether it be about the platform or whether it's around strategy or how your profile looks. We're happy to help with any questions that you may have. So kind of diving deeper into what secure and reliable mean to us, we do partner with Stripe, who is a PCI Level 1 payment processor. This is the highest level of security a payment processor can achieve, which means that you and your donor's information is safely stored securely on their servers, and there's no way for anyone to get it, not even Give Gab, so you can feel safe filling out that information and knowing that it's secured properly. All participating organizations are verified as IRS and state recognized nonprofits. Again, we want to make sure that only legitimate organizations are fundraising on the platform, and this is part of the check. And as we prepare for your giving day, we do have fail-safe redundancy plans in place and tested periodically. And this just means that your experience on the giving day and your donor's experience on the giving day is perfect. You know, we don't want any hiccups with the donation process or with the website. So we do a lot of load testing, which means we simulate the more load than what we would expect on the day and make sure that the website properly performs. We also have cloud services and various backup plans that in case something does go wrong, that we do have seamless failovers in place so that you don't even know that anything's happening. That's because it failed over properly to our backup system while we resolve the primary system. So there's a lot that we take into account, making sure that the website's safe and stable for their giving day. And then if something were to happen, we would be completely transparent with not only you as the organization, with the community foundation and donors as well. So we don't expect that to happen, but if it were to happen, we would make sure that we are completely transparent about what was happening and what was the path forward. In terms of pricing, we are very transparent about this during the registration process and during the donation process. So for donations, there is a 2% platform fee. This is capped at $20. And then there is a 2.2% credit card fee plus 30 cents per transaction. So in total, it's 4.2% plus 30 cents for the transaction. The credit card fee is the lowest one of the lowest in the industry. That's because we have such great nonprofits like you guys raising so much money on our platform that we're able to get these low rates through Stripe. So donors do have the ability to cover those fees, and they usually do. I think last year we had a very high rate for the Amazing Give particularly, so that they have the option to cover that or not cover it. So during the Amazing Give 2019, we did see that 91% of donors covered fees, which is huge. All those, few little dollars and cents really do add up.
So Vanessa, can we go back to that page?
Yeah.
One question we get a lot is, so I always want to explain the fees one more time. The 2.2%, the 2% platform fee is a GiveGab fee that does not come through the Community Foundation. And the 2.2% credit card fee, of course, goes to the credit card companies. And so that percentage is what the donor can cover. And we, 91% of our donors covered that last year, which is huge. And so that money, of course, if they choose not to cover it, it is taken out before it goes into your bank account. The $150 registration fee is what you're paying when you register, and that fee is coming to the Community Foundation to help the Community Foundation cover costs for Amazing Gifts, such as any of the promotional materials that we're advertising for the Giving Day, helps us pay for the website platform. It helps us pay for anything that we're doing. We actually do have a surprise announcement, what we talked about on February 5th, about how we're using that money to better benefit the nonprofits and help us at the Community Foundation. So that's what that $150 registration fee covers.
Great. Thank you for that extra detail, Leslie. I appreciate that. All right, so I'm going to walk through quickly how your organization can participate. So if you go to theamazinggive.org, you'll see that there is a clear call to action right on the homepage to apply now. So when you click on that, you'll be prompted to find your organization. So this is an important step so that if your organization does have a profile on GiveGab, that you're still using that profile. That way you have all of your donor data, your bank account information, if it was in there, all available to you, and you're not starting over from scratch. You also have the ability to copy your profile from last year and work from that. So that can be very helpful for a lot of organizations. So this is a very important step. If you know that your organization had, or if you just think it might have had a profile at some point, take the time to search for it and try to find it under here. So if there is a match, there'll be a list of organizations here that match. You would pick the one that's yours, click on participate, and it would take you to the registration process. If no organization is found, you would click on add my organization. So you go through there's a few questions that you'd be asked, as well as paying the $150 registration fee. And then once you finish that process, you'll land on your preparation checklist. So as you go through these different items, you'll receive a little green checkbox. So you'll want to check those things out. I want to call attention to the add a thank you message. So that's where you'll configure your thank you copy that will be sent in the receipt that is immediately sent to the donors after they complete the donation to your organization. But there's a lot of great information here. So take your time to look it over. There's a lot of resources within the nonprofit toolkit. If you have any questions, of course, there's always the blue chat bubble to help you out as well. So going along those lines, so the nonprofit toolkit has tons of stuff for you to help plan, prepare, and promote your campaign through the Amazing Give. So again, just check that out. There's different templates that you could follow. There's communication timelines. There's great graphics. So one of the great things about the Amazing Give is that it's being promoted all over the community. So you can grab those Amazing Give graphics, add those to your promotional materials, and right there you're riding the coattails of all of the momentum that the Community Foundation is creating through their marketing as well. So that's a really important page to visit and grab those items for. And also just helpful resources for your board members, volunteers, fundraisers. There's tons of stuff in there. And if there's something you can't find, please let us know. We're always looking to improve our toolkits and just create all of the resources that we can for you. So if you find a gap, let us know and we're happy to fill it. And then our support team, feel free to visit our support center, support.givegab.com. There's tons of great articles in there about all the functionality within the platform. You can send us an email at customersuccess@givegab.com or chat with one of our awesome folks behind the chat bubble. All right, I'm gonna hand it over to Isaiah to walk us through peer-to-peer fundraising and matches.
All right, thank you so much, Vanessa. So hello, everybody. Like Vanessa said earlier, my name's Isaiah Smith, and I am a customer success champion. I'm one of the people behind the chat bubble. So maybe you've spoken to me in the past, and if so, that's awesome. I hope to speak to some of you guys going forward as we prepare for the Giving Day this year. So let's dive in and start talking about peer-to-peer fundraising. Hopefully some of you guys have utilized this in the past, but if you haven't, what peer-to-peer fundraising really is an opportunity to enhance all of these things for your organization. Enhance the reach, the stewardship, engagement, trust, and honestly, it's a lot of fun for you as an organization for several reasons, because one, which we think is a pretty awesome thing, is that you'll raise more money utilizing peer-to-peer fundraising. And two, you'll get to really see how your organization has impacted some of your supporters. Your peer-to-peer fundraisers will have the opportunity to reach out to their family and friends with their own page for fundraising. And basically what that page looks like, and we'll walk through what that actually looks like in real life here in a minute, but they'll have a page of their own with their own URL that will allow them to collect donations for your organization. And in that page, they'll have the opportunity to fill out their own story section. And that is really where you can kind of see like that impact and how they reach out to other people and really engage even more supporters in your organization. And also along the lines of stewardship, it provides an opportunity to engage with your existing supporters in maybe a way that you haven't yet, and giving them the opportunity to share their own personal stories on their own account, and do it in a way that they kind of want to do, and to give them the freedom of creativity to kind of add their own story. And they can also add story images there on their page as well. And all of this kind of wraps up in a nice bow to really, in my opinion, highlights that your organization is very trustworthy. If you have imagine having, an army of peer-to-peer fundraisers behind you. That just really makes all the people who are coming into contact with those and with your organization's page, seeing that, all of these people have raised money for you as kind of outside supporters. It really deepens that trust with the organization and also with those existing supporters that you have.
Yeah, one thing I really love about peer-to-peer fundraising is it allows you to diversify your call to action. So one of the things I hear from nonprofits a lot is, how do I do that? Like, what do I do other than ask to donate? Become a peer-to-peer fundraiser is a great way to do that. That not only stewards your existing supporters, but it's a great engagement opportunity. And as Isaiah said, helps to build trust with new donors and your existing supporters.
Right. So let's look a little bit about how this will look from your end, and then how it will look on the peer-to-peer fundraiser side. So if you already have some people in mind that you're thinking of, or maybe you've added some fundraisers in the past, this is kind of how you'll invite people to become peer-to-peer fundraisers for the Amazing Give for 2020. So in your checklist, which we saw a screenshot of in one of Vanessa's slides before, one of those preparation checklist items is add fundraisers. And when you click on that, you'll see this panel pop up. And listed here will be all of the fundraisers that you currently have. And if you don't, there will be none there. But then right above that is the button to add those fundraisers. When you click that, you'll be taken to this basically a sign-up process. So you'll have to enter in the name of the fundraiser and their email, and you'll want to make sure that those emails are unique for every person, because essentially that is the way that they will get their own page and be able to be set up with their own peer-to-peer fundraising page. So once you enter in the names and the emails, you'll then have the opportunity to draft a message along with that. So whatever you want to say to all these people who are going that extra mile to support your organization, this is your opportunity to send that message out to them and say thank you. And maybe also give any instructions on something. Maybe you have something internally with your peer-to-peer fundraisers that you'd like to use to incentivize, and this is somewhere where you can kind of get that message all at once. So once you click that send button, then your peer-to-peer fundraisers will be added to that list. And then you'll be able to see here all of their statistics there. So how many donors they've had come through their page, the amount that they've raised, what their goal is, and then here are the actions here that you can see. You can message that person, edit their page, or remove them. And then down below that, you also have this checkbox right here, which is gives you the ability to basically allow new fundraisers to sign up from the outside. So those would be the fundraisers that you haven't invited that they come to your page and they become so inspired they want to become a fundraiser themselves. Having this checkbox checked will allow people to do that from your Amazing Give page. And then right here is where you can set the fundraiser's story. So this would be the default story that shows up for all your fundraisers when their fundraiser page is created initially. So if you want a specific message in there, that's where you'll set that. And the same goes for the fundraising goal. Maybe you think 500 might be a little too steep. I want to set that at 250 or something like that. That's where you can set that for each individual, or for the default for all your fundraisers. But just know that they also have the opportunity to change both of these to be custom for themselves. And that's probably something that you would encourage them to do, is share their own story there. So here, from here, there's really nothing for you to do on the organization side, but Katrina just got her fundraiser set up there, as we can see. So what does this look like on her end? She'll receive an email that you sent out with your message and a link to go to her fundraisers toolkit. So it looks very similar to your toolkit in your admin dashboard side of things, but this will just be for setting up their page. Here you see that they'll have the opportunity to set up their story, like I mentioned before, and that's where they can also reset their goal. They can also make their donation to their fundraising page right through this page here in their toolkit. And then a few other things like reaching out via email to their supporters, their inner circle, kind of a section to share socially, and also a way to automatically send thank you messages through the system here. You'll also see that they have that link right here directly to their fundraising page, and that's what they can use to send out to folks. And then, of course, their statistics will show up there. So that's what the fundraisers will see on their side and what they'll get to customize and edit. So if they would ever to be, well, my mouse is stuck over here. If they ever have any questions about that, that's something that they can reach out to our customer success team, and we're always super happy to help them with that. So now, let's kind of look at the impact that this will have. Okay. All right. So on average, nonprofits during the Amazing Give in 2019 that used peer-to-peer fundraising raised 423% more than nonprofits that did not use peer-to-peer fundraising. That is not a typo. that is the actual data that we got from 2019. So the average amount that was raised by nonprofits that used peer-to-peer fundraisers was over $16,000. And then the average, of course, there, if you can do the math backwards, it would give you just over 3,800 for nonprofits that did not utilize peer-to-peer fundraising. So it's very clear the impact that this has. Of course, there's other things, other factors that go into why those numbers are so different, but I think it's quite clear that peer-to-peer fundraising does have the ability to really make a difference for your organization. The total amount of peer-to-peer fundraisers that received any donations from 2019 were 338. So that's a pretty good number of supporters that felt, inspired to go and raise funds for their organizations. And I think it's just a testament to what the Community Foundation is doing and what you guys as the organizations are doing in your community, getting a turnout like this. But it would be so amazing to see that number increase for 2020. And I think that's what we all hope to see. So also here are some of these other numbers here that we're seeing. The total number that was raised just by peer-to-peer fundraising was over 150,000. So as you can see, that's 14% of the whole giving day came through peer-to-peer fundraising pages. So it's substantial, the impact that peer-to-peer fundraisers can have. And we just really want to get that point across and make sure you know the impact that this could have, not only for the Amazing Give, but just for your organization. So hopefully we see these numbers increase this year, but what's most important is that engagement is increased across the board. And when we think peer-to-peer fundraising is one great way to increase that engagement. Next up, I'm going to talk about matches and challenges and what those can do for your organizations during the Amazing Give. But first, I'm going to turn it back over to Leslie so she can talk a little bit about the definition of a match.
Thank you. I know that we really push for organizations to work on trying to get matches and peer-to-peer fundraisers. So be on the lookout when we announce our prizes, because this year a lot of the prizes are going to be focused around matching gifts and peer-to-peer. So we get this question a lot: what defines a matching gift? So there is, of course, the true definition of a matching gift where, for example, you have an individual, we'll call him Mr. Smith, gives your organization, he'll say, I'll match up to $1,000 for your giving day. So as people donate, they'll be able to see, and they'll get into Isaiah will get into the logistics of it, but they'll be able to see their match being depleted. And then at the end, if it was completely depleted, they give you $1,000. If it only 900 was completed, they give you $900. So there's that type of match. There's also the gift where, the donor is more than likely going to give you the full amount, but you can use it as a match. So they'll say, I want to give you $1,000, but I'd like to leverage the gift with a match. But if you don't reach it, I probably will give you the full amount. And that is okay in our definition to use that as a matching gift. So I think what might be helpful is to give you some more examples of what's not a matching gift. So the Community Foundation, how we observe what is a matching gift, it's money that you were going to raise through the Amazing Give. So what we don't want is organizations that say they got a grant in January, and you got a grant this month that was for one of your projects, and then you count that as a matching gift because that was not the donor's intent of the gift. If you get a $5,000 donation this, in February, and the donor gave it to you for a specific project, it has nothing to do with Amazing Give, we don't want you using that as a match. But if you talk to that donor and you ask that donor and the donor says yes, that you can use that, then you're able to use that as a match. So at the end of the day, the definition comes down to what was the intention of the donor for that gift. Did the donor want it for the Amazing Give, or did they not want it for Amazing Give? And that at the end of the day, you've at least asked that donor their intentions. So that's the definition of a match. If you have any questions, please email me. We want to be really careful that we are not abusing this, and we don't have organizations really coming up with arbitrary numbers or coming up with donations that were not intended for the Amazing Give to then be counted, or they didn't even check with the donor. There are some exceptions where, for example, if you're fundraising, I think a great example might be Take Stock in Children. And if they fundraise, they, the Education Foundation, and they're matched by the state, will allow you to count that state match in with the Giving Day, because money that's being raised for that will be matched, and it's coming through the Amazing Give. So there are some exceptions we can work with, but for the most part, just really look at donor intentions of a match.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much for providing that definition of a match, and everybody out there, keeping that in mind. What I'm going to do now is kind of talk about how that works on the platform side of things and how that functions from your dashboard. So the matching amount that, like Leslie was just mentioning, that your donor is giving you, that should be received externally from the Amazing Give and from the GiveGab platform. And what that means is, if your donor, use that same example, Mr. Smith wants to give $1,000 for a matching opportunity, you want to make sure Mr. Smith gives that via check or some kind of offline donation, and doesn't also make that donation online through the Amazing Give or through GiveGab at all. The reason for that is because it will be counted double in your reports, and it'll just kind of make the numbers not line up how they should.
Yeah, and if you do have a case where your donor absolutely wants to make that gift online, feel free to reach out to us via the chat bubble. It doesn't happen often, but we have seen it happen, and we can walk you through the steps to kind of rectify the data.
Right.
But it's a little tricky, so if you do have that scenario, please reach out to us and we can walk you through it.
Right. All right. So your nonprofit is responsible for, of course, getting these matching funds and receiving them. GiveGab does not collect the matching funds from your sponsor or on your behalf. We're simply providing you the functionality to report that match on your page and kind of show the progress of the match itself as donations come in and become matched. So match amounts are going to appear as offline donations in your donation report. So what that means is whenever you are looking at your donation report, you'll see a bunch of donations that have basically the same name, and it'll probably be the name of your sponsor. And those, if you scroll over to the right in your donation report, you'll see it. The donation type on that would be offline for matches and or challenges. So it's really good to know that whenever you're going after the fact, after the day, to do some reconciling, that you understand that those are a different donation type. That'll help you in the long run. Matches and challenges are intended to be used for large gifts, not necessarily, small, like, a couple hundred here or there. I know what we've seen in the past, and maybe on other giving days too, is where multiple donors will combine their gifts for a match. Of course, again, they'll have to intend to do that as a group, but that is definitely something that we have seen and people take advantage of from time to time if they don't have just one large gift from one donor, but they can combine medium to large size gifts from multiple donors. So more than one match in your profile can run concurrently, but there's some kind of tips and tricks to doing that right so that the reporting comes out correctly and that gifts don't get matched basically twice. And also just to kind of hit home with the impact that matches and challenges can have, similar to how peer-to-peer impacted the amounts raised. We see that 4.5 times, actually, let me rephrase that. We see that organizations tend to raise 4.5 times more when they're using matches than organizations that do not use matches. So there's a clear impact there in the data that matches can have. And of course, it's because you're incentivizing people to give more so that they feel like their donation is going further and making a larger impact. So let's look at how this is actually going to be set up on your side of things. So in your admin dashboard, we saw what the checklist looked like with the green check marks and everything. To the right of that, you'll see a button that says Manage Sponsor Matching. When you click that, you'll be taken to the page where you can add matches and challenges and where you'll see all of those displayed. And then if you click Add a Match, this is the page that you'll be brought to then, where you can set up everything that you need to set up for your match. So up here at the top, the sponsor name and a URL to their website if they want you to include that or if you would like to include that. But you can also keep the sponsor anonymous. I'd also like to make note here with that anonymity, if you do actually include their name here, let's say it's Mr. Smith's company, and you check the box to keep that anonymous, you do not have to remove the name from the sponsor name field here. That will be taken off on the public side of things so that your donors and anybody visiting your page will not see the name of the sponsor if they wish to be anonymous. The reason you would want to keep the sponsor name actually here as it is would be to see that on the back end of things so that you know from a reporting standpoint which of those matching offline donations that were added were for that specific sponsor. So then you can see you also have the option to add a logo here and then the name of the match. So let's say, for example, you're using Mr. Smith's company and it's not anonymous. You can call this Mr. Smith's match or whatever Mr. Smith wants you to call that. Or if they don't mind how you name the match, then you can be creative and name it something more creative than anything I could think of. And then after that, you have the opportunity to put a description in there. And that's where you can kind of inform your donors of anything that your sponsor wants you to inform them of when it comes to this match, or anything that you'd like to include there. And now we get to the really important part, and that is setting up the amount of funds that will be available and that time frame on that. So right here under total matching funds available, that's where you'll enter the amount that your sponsor gave you. So if Mr. Smith sponsored a match for $5,000, he's going to match dollar for dollar. That's where you'll put $5,000 here. This field here for maximum match per individual donation, that's if what you would set there basically is, let's say you don't want another donor to come in and give $5,000 and deplete the match in one donation. So this is where you can set that to some amount that you think is reasonable there. You don't have to set a maximum match per individual donation. You don't have to set anything here, but that's what you would use that for, is basically to give more donors the opportunity to have their donation matched. And this part is really important here, setting up the time zone. So you want to, or the time frame for the match. You want to make sure that you understand it's in Eastern time. So typically we see that organization has one match set up, and they'll set that from the start of when donations open to when they end. So 6 p.m. to 6 p.m. And then they'll enable auto matching. So that means you can set this up, make sure auto matching's enabled, save it, and you are good to go. And your match will auto deplete as your online donations come in, and you can sit back and relax and watch the numbers go up. If you do not have auto matching enabled, then basically any donations that online donations that come in, you can manually add that specific match to it. But we tend to see most people use auto matching because, really they don't want to go in and match every single online donation that comes in, because hopefully they're getting a lot. But for the time frame, you want to make sure that that's set up for the time frame that you're getting donations. If you set that up, let's say, I know some people make this mistake, but when they set it up from midnight to midnight, sometimes they actually accidentally set the second part to noon. So it only goes from midnight to noon, and that second part, the second half of the day, basically, they're not getting auto-matched because it's outside of that time frame. So just make sure that's set up exactly how you want it. And if you have multiple matches throughout the day, you can set up different times there for each of those matches. So that's really it for setting up your match. Here's what it looks like on the front end for people that come to your page. Right here above, this is what you'll see in your admin dashboard side of things. You'll be able to see the amount that is there, the amount that is remaining to be matched. It very clearly lays out if auto matching is enabled or not, and the time frame that it's running through. And this is what people will see on your profile page here. So next, I'm going to kind of quickly go through the challenges part of this, because it's basically the same as setting up a match. There's just one key difference. So a challenge is very similar to a match in a sense that you'll have a sponsor that will give you an amount of money to be used for that challenge, and donations that you get in will basically unlock something for you. So the main difference for a challenge is that instead of matching a donation dollar for dollar, a challenge means that you will have a goal set up, and that goal can be either a dollar challenge or a donor challenge. So for a dollar challenge, that means, let's say my sponsor says, once you guys reach $500 in donations, that's going to unlock a $5,000 gift from me. So basically in the system, the challenge will be tracking the online donations that you're getting in during the time frame that you set up. And once those reach that goal that's set up, either, like for example, $500 that you've raised, or let's say 50 donors that you've gotten. Once you reach that goal, that amount will get unlocked and put into your totals as an offline donation. Again, very similar to the matches. So this motivates individual donors to kind of work together as a team to unlock that goal, or unlock that prize essentially for your organization. So what that looks like, again, very similar to the matches here. I'll point out the difference maker here is right here is when you select the challenge type. So that's either a dollar challenge or a donor challenge, like I mentioned before. And then right here is where you'll set what that goal is. And then the challenge amount is the amount that will be unlocked whenever that challenge is completed. And again, keep in mind that the time frame is important there, same as the matches. And of course, you don't have auto matching for challenges because there's nothing to match for a challenge. But what will be done automatically in that same sense is that in that time frame, that's what will be automatically counting towards that either dollar or donor goal that you have set up.
Keep in mind, for the Amazing Give, donations do open 2 weeks in advance. So if you do leave that time frame unspecified, then it's going to run for the entire giving period. So if you are, say, aiming for one of those prizes, that this is a great opportunity to leverage your match or your challenge and set up the start and time frame in alignment with that prize. That way your donors are super motivated during that period, and you have the best chance of winning that prize.
Awesome. So this is what a challenge will look like on the front end. Again, very similar to the matches, except right here it'll show there's $1,000 more that needs to be raised to unlock that $750. Awesome. Right, and then right here is what it'll look like whenever that's been unlocked. It'll have that amount and then unlocked, and that bar will be all the way across there. Awesome. So I've talked a little bit about auto versus manual matching. Again, they're all going to be whether you're doing auto matching or you're going to manually add matches to donations that come in, those are all going to appear in your campaign or your event. we'll say in your giving day profile, and it counts towards the progress of your goal that you are displaying on your page. So I won't dive too much deeper into this as I have before, because I pretty much hit the nail on the head earlier. But for an auto matched gift, basically you'll see that show up dollar for dollar. There's no like calculation that you have to do on your end or anything like that. I'll just point out one more time that if you have multiple matches set up and they're all on auto matching for the same time frame, they're going to count the donation multiple times. So you'll want to make sure that you kind of are mindful of how those timeframes are set up if you do have those multiple matches, because you don't want the reporting to be kind of off. Yeah, I think that, anything to add, Vanessa? I think that pretty much highlights the difference between auto and manual matching.
Yeah, we just highly encourage you to leverage that auto matching. That really does make your day much easier, because the system will do it all for you. Really the purpose of the manual match is if you have match criteria that's not one-to-one, then you'd want to do a manual matched gift, but or a challenge. A challenge might be even a better way to set that up. So yeah, something to think about. If you want more information about matches versus challenges, there is an advanced training that is pre-recorded in the Nonprofit Toolkit, and it really dives much, much more deeper into the ways you can leverage matches and challenges. Challenges are a little bit, we don't see nonprofits leverage challenges as much. I think it's a little bit of a different concept. We usually see that in the university space, but it's really a really cool way to leverage matching funds, and it allows for a little bit more creativity than just a one-to-one match. They can be a lot of fun. So if you're interested in that, I would recommend checking out that pre-recorded training. It's maybe 20 minutes, very short and sweet, but it provides a lot of good examples and information about these things.
Yeah, definitely check that out. So quickly, I'm going to kind of go over what it looks like to review those gifts that you've gotten in, and the ones that have been added for your matching opportunities here. So like I mentioned before, right here is showing like a little video of what that looks like in the donation report. So like I mentioned before, scrolling to the right, you'll be able to see that donation type column, and that's where you'll be able to see, okay, this was an offline donation that was added for a matching donation. So just make sure that whenever you are reconciling after the day, that you check out all the fields there that are in your donation report, and make sure that you're addressing your donors accordingly. Exporting that CSV, so I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with downloading that donation report out of your dashboard. Something to note about doing that now is that you can add filters to that donation report. And when you add those filters and export, those filters will carry over into that download. So matches are always going to show up as offline gifts, like I mentioned before, and they'll have that sponsor's, there's the sponsor's name as the donor name. So that's where I mentioned, even if that sponsor wants to be anonymous publicly, you'll still want to enter in their name in the sponsor name field when you're setting up your match or challenge, because in your donation report, you'll see, okay, this was from Mr. Smith's company. I know, and I also can see that it's an offline matching donation. So just to make sure your reconciliation is as streamlined as possible, you want to enter in that sponsor name there at the beginning of that process. And also, donations made before the match are not going to be matched. Like I mentioned, that's why that time frame that you set up is super important. And also, again, just to mention it one more time, if you do have multiple sponsor matches available at once that are, especially those that are auto set up for auto matching, the match will be added. The donation will be matched by all of the matches that are there. So you want to make sure that you have that kind of separated out the right way. And now I'm going to turn it back over to Vanessa to kind of wrap things up for us.
All right, so just very quickly, so some time for Q&A. So what are your next steps? We give you a ton of information. So first, foremost, register for The Amazing Give. Go to theamazinggive.org and hit apply now. Find your organization and go through the registration process. Follow The Amazing Give on social media. So you can follow them on Facebook.
Vanessa, The Amazing Give is actually the Community Foundation of North Central Florida's page.
Thank you for that correction. We'll correct the slides before we upload them. Yep, so lots of great information through their page. I know I follow it. Watch your inbox for important emails, especially around Philanthropy Hub. It's a really exciting new thing coming at you guys. We definitely don't want you to miss any information around that. Check out the pre-recorded webinars on the training page. They are available 24/7. You can send them to teammates, team members, and they have tons of different topics on there. So check those out. Also, check out the nonprofit toolkit. Look around. There's tons of resources in there for you. You're not starting from scratch. Look that over and see what you can leverage. And then explore matches and peer-to-peer fundraising. I think the numbers that we reviewed are undeniable that it is effective. So this is a really fun way for your organizations to not only participate in The Amazing Give and raise more money, but also steward donors and sponsors along the way. It's a really, really great tool for organizations to leverage. All right, so we'll go into questions if there are any. We'll give a minute for people to enter those into the Q&A part of your panel.
So I see a couple of them that came out that might be worth, that people wrote in. I know that there were some questions, Vanessa, about when the page will be going live for people to start viewing it. And so that will be on April 8th. So April 8th is when your page will open up to start accepting donations.
Leslie, we also have a question. What time is the February 5th training?
So you'll have to go on to register for a specific time. It's going to be depending on the session. So when you go to theamazinggive.org and you click on trainings, on the training page, you'll see the sign up for the in-person trainings with GiveGab. And so not the one-on-ones, but on February 5th, it starts depending on when you go. So we ask that you only register for one of those sessions. And I think that the sessions are about an hour long. I think the one-on-one session for the ones that are the beginner session is an hour and a half. But they're just quick hour and a half sessions. But we ask that you only sign up for one of those 4 sessions. And then the deadline to register for The Amazing Give, I saw that question come up. The deadline to register for Amazing Give will be April 1st.
Okay. We do have a question about matches. Is there a way to unlock matches as each one depletes? Like make it a series instead of concurrently? That's a great question. I think you would want to do that by way of setting the start and end times. So making sure that there's no overlap. I think that would be what you would want to do to have a series of matches rather than have them go all concurrently. I see one on here, Leslie. When will The Amazing Give prizes be revealed?
Yes, so thank you. That's a great question. The prizes, you will have to come to the February 5th training. We will be announcing them at each one of the hours that we'll be doing. We'll be announcing the trainings, and then we will not send those out via email for another probably 2 or 3 weeks. So if you do not come to that training, it will probably be 2 or 3 weeks before you find out what those prizes are. Prizes and power hours will be.
Leslie always makes the trainings really fun, so please join us.
Yes, and I see that we have a question about causes, which we are working on that. I know that there's been some of the causes have changed, and so we will fix that. If you're having a problem in registering and not finding the cause, whether it's animal welfare or environment, if you're having a problem finding those causes, we'll please reach out to us or to GiveGab, and we're working on fixing that.
Any other questions? Leslie, do you have any other announcements that you want to go over before we wrap up?
Yeah, just quickly wrapping up, we can find our Facebook page. We'll be looking out for our emails, and we will send that Facebook URL out for those who join our private page where we'll be keeping up with announcements. And then, like I said, please be sure to sign up for February 5th for one of those 4 in-person trainings. And then the next day on the 6th, be sure to sign up for the one-on-ones as well and be on the lookout. All of our emails do come via Constant Contact. So if you are not getting our emails, please reach out to me or to the chat bubble, and we will make sure that we get your name added and your email added to start receiving our Amazing Gift emails. We will be doing, starting next week, we will start going to Friday emails. So you'll get an email every Friday with an update for the Amazing Gifts. We want to make sure that you're on those emails to get important information. But thank you guys for joining today, and look forward to working with you all during the Amazing Gift this year.
Thank you, everyone.